Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to do something a little different. A lot of people are interested in preparedness and just don't know where to start. There's hundreds of thousands of videos on YouTube about what to buy and 100 things to buy before the apocalypse and 50 things you must buy. A lot of that I disagree with, and a lot of it's overwhelming for people who are just getting started. There's a lot of expensive equipment that's recommended that I sometimes agree with, sometimes don't. And so I decided to put together a list of getting started and getting started for under $200. Under $200. And it's really not that hard. It's nothing exotic. You can actually save a little money if you buy these things at some different places. I was able to find everything on Amazon. So right now, while you're watching this video or when you get done, you can order the things to get you into a better place from Amazon, from your computer, from your phone, whatever, and get going right now for under 200 bucks. Let's get started. Number one, which is kind of an interesting item to start off with, is a Heat Sheets brand SOL space blanket. And I'm going to call this product out by name because there's a big difference between these and cheaper versions that are out there. And I also have personal experience and a personal story to go along with this one. I had a friend who went through a low water crossing and her car shorted out in November, and so she was wet and cold and in the middle of nowhere. It was going to be 2 hours before a tow truck got to her, and she was able to wrap up in one of these things to protect herself from hypothermia. It could have been a really bad situation. What I have here is a pack of 4 for 20, so I'm going to call them $5 a piece. I really believe that every car should have one of these, and having them laying around the house is also not a bad idea. I live in Texas, as you know, and we had no power for 5 days last winter. So this thing we had other options to stay warm, but these things lay flat, they're small, they're inexpensive. Uh, Really, everybody should have one of these things. They make them in a standard size and a two-person and extra large size for about $2 more. What makes these things different than the cheaper models is two main factors. Number one, they're laminated, and so they're a lot more durable than the 99-cent ones. The really cheap models are incredibly fragile. Like if you look at them wrong, they rip. And they're also bigger. These are 56 by 84, so that's 4.5 feet by 7 feet. So it'll actually like cover a body. The cheaper ones are a lot smaller than you think. So these things are much more durable and they're physically larger than, say, this. Now, this actually does say it's 52 by 84 and they're $1 a piece. So they are a reasonable size, but these things are really, really, really fragile. And if you look at them wrong, they tear. So I strongly recommend the Heat Sheets SOL brand of space blanket. And I really think that everybody should have one. Have them in the car, have a couple at home. They don't take up any space. They're very lightweight and could save your life. Water. So there's lots of talk about water purification and things like that. I think that water storage is more important than water purification. Now, water purification will be a 2.0 version of this video, but water storage, simple water storage, is really simple and really easy. There's lots of different ways to do water storage. Water bricks, buying 1 gallon water jugs from your grocery store, which actually would be cheaper than this. But I lived in an apartment for many, many, many years, and so I'm conscientious of how much space something takes up. And I think that These Aquatainers is the brand name by Reliance, that are 7 gallons. I believe are the right blend of size and space and price and weight. That's the big thing. So this is 7 gallons, and water weighs 8 pounds per gallon. So when you fill this thing up, it's going to be 50 something pounds. I'm not a big guy. My wife is smaller than I am. I can pick this thing up and move it around, but it's not real pleasant. And it's about the max that she can pick up and move. What I like about this is that it's got a spout in it. So if you take the cap off, there's a spout that you take out and turn around and put back in. And we have used this thing a couple of times. We've had boil water orders here in Austin, Texas, and then in Pflugerville. And I pulled this thing out, put it on the counter, the bathroom or the kitchen sink, and turn it on its side, and we had a water spout. We used it last year during the blizzard when we lost water pressure. So it's a really simple, really handy thing to have. Now, you could go to your grocery store and buy 1 gallon, single 1 gallon jugs of water. And they're usually about $1 from Walmart, HEB, Walgreens, whatever. The Ozarka brand are usually in fairly thick plastic. So they're about $1 a piece. So you could have 7 gallons for $7. So you could save money. But they take up a lot of space because they're round. They're like the size of a gallon of milk. They eat up a lot of space. This thing I put underneath the cabinet, and they're actually out in the garage right now. So certainly, if you wanted to save even more money, do the gallon jugs. But if you are space constrained, I think that this is a better option. Cooking. So power goes out. You got to have something to eat. There's, again, lots of different options of butane stoves and sterno stoves, and I am a fan of butane stoves over propane. Couple of reasons. So number one, I have experimented with sterno, and sterno just doesn't get hot enough. It's made to keep things warm, not hot. So there's just not enough heat output out of sterno to really do a whole lot in my experience and my testing. Propane camping stoves, they're a little more expensive. They're a little bigger physical size-wise, and propane canisters are going up in price, and they're just a little big. I don't have any huge problem with a propane camp stove, but for a space conscious and budget conscious option, I would prefer a butane stove. This is a single burner, and I picked this one because it comes with canisters. I've seen these things under $20. I got mine at Academy. They have them at Walmart. Again, this is Amazon, but this one comes with 4 canisters. Which is why it's a couple more dollars. This is great if you're going camping or tailgating, or you just want to be outside. Super fast, super lightweight, very inexpensive. Doesn't take up a lot of room, but a great budget option. Certainly you need to be careful about carbon monoxide and things like that. So use it near a window, use it on your patio if you can. But this is a great budget-friendly, safe option. I've stored those canisters now for 10 years with no problems. They're like hairspray canisters. You just pop them inside, turn the thing on. So I think this is a great option for emergency cooking. On the topic of food, can opener, manual can opener. Power goes out, you're going to be eating canned food. You need a good quality all metal can opener. And if you look here, this particular KitchenAid has 19,000 reviews on Amazon. That's pretty good reputation. And it's $15, but as you see, I said the can opener is $30. Why? Because you should have 2. And this is the only item on my list that I am recommending you buy 2 of. Why? because if you need food and all your food is in canned goods and you have one can opener and it breaks, you're in trouble. So, preppers talk about three is two and two is one and one is none. Yeah, it's cute, and certainly I'd love to have redundant options for everything that I buy. I also am not made of money, but this is the one thing that I would strongly recommend that you have two of. If you want to save some money, there are some cheaper options for your secondary backup, but for $15, buy two good ones. Power, people talk about generators and solar and battery backups and jackeries and all sorts of stuff, but the reality is our lives revolve around our phones. I mean, this is communication, this is information. Our lives revolve around our cell phones. So, keeping this thing going will give you a lot. So, the big name in portable power is Ankler, and this is a small but very reliable and very inexpensive USB battery pack. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour. That means you'll get about 2 charges on a modern cell phone off of it, because a modern phone's about 5,000 milliamp battery, so you'll get about 2 full charges for $21. I have 2 of these things. They are super handy. When I used to go watch my father-in-law play baseball, we'd be out at the park, I'd take it along so me and my wife could charge your phone. You could charge your tablet with it. I strongly believe that anyone who owns a cell phone should own one of these. They're super, super, super handy. Take them to the park, take them hiking, anywhere you're going to be out in the world for a day, you need to juice your phone up. They're this new model, as you can see. I just bought another one in September. They're even smaller and lighter. Actually, I've got it sitting on the counter next to me. It's the size of my phone. One USB port, USB-C and B charging for people who have older models. Certainly a very handy, very useful thing I think everybody should own. Light, people talk about just using the flashlight function on their phone. I disagree with that for a couple different reasons. It burns up your phone's battery, and also I don't like the idea of holding my phone up when I'm trying to change a tire or jumpstart my battery, because if I drop my phone, then I'm in trouble. So having a standalone flashlight, I believe, is really important. Now, flashlights, there's a lot of opinions on flashlights, obviously, like there is about everything. I personally do not like rechargeable flashlights. I like something I can just pop D cell, double A's or C's or D's into and get on with my life. Don't like rechargeables, personal preference. I also don't see the point in having a 5,000 lumen flashlight. I'm not trying to signal the space shuttle. I'm just trying to flip the breakers in my house or change a tire. I personally think the sweet spot is under 200 lumens, personal opinion, because that gives you the balance of brightness to battery runtime. Another little secret is when you're looking at flashlights, make sure it has at least 3 cells. Everything is LED these days, and LEDs require at least 4 volts to operate optimally. So if you have 2 batteries, that's only 3 volts. It uses a step-up circuit. And if you look really closely, the battery runtime, the lifespan of those batteries is actually pretty short. This particular product that we see on the screen, the Dorsey, which I like them, they're really cheap and durable. We have a similar model, lives on my wife's side of the bed. 120 lumens, 8 hours on 3 AAA batteries. I would personally prefer AA's or better C's or D's, but again, $11. It's hard to beat. There is a 3 D-cell mag light on my side of the bed that I've had for a decade now. The problem is they're now $40. So again, I was trying to do this on a budget. I think that the Dorsey brand are a good trade-off of functionality and durability. Hard to go wrong for 11 bucks. Medical stuff, I went back and forth on this. I personally believe that you should build your own first aid kit as opposed to buying one based on your personal situation and your personal level of training. I've got a little bit of medical training. I've done first aid, CPR, stop the bleed, wilderness first aid, CERT. I've done a couple different classes. Like I said, I like to build my own kits, and I'll probably do a video on that of going to my favorite store, which is Walgreens, and buying first aid stuff on sale. Buy one, get one half off. It's great. I have boxes of spare Band-Aids and other medical stuff when I buy things on sale. But in looking around, this is a pretty robust kit for $10. I couldn't build one for just this cheap. I could build 5 for cheaper than this, but if I was just doing one, building one for $10 would be really hard to do. So this has got pretty good reviews. I looked through the contents list. It's not shabby for 10 bucks. So good place to get started. Keep in the bathroom, keep under the kitchen sink. Not too shabby. Fire, whether you've got a fireplace or not, having a pack of Bic lighters is really, there's no excuse not to. Here's a pack of 10 for 11 bucks. When the power went out last winter, my stove is gas. Now, I couldn't use the oven, but I could turn my burners on and manually light it with the lighter. So I didn't have to use my butane stove or my propane stove. I could use my kitchen counter stove. I just had to manually light it. So no excuse not to have a pack of Bic lighters laying around. You just use them for a little bit of everything. Duct tape. Duct tape is sort of a given. There's just so many things you can do with duct tape, and it's used in conjunction with the next item. But, wrapping up pipes if you have to, taping over windows. There's 1,001 uses of duct tape, and there's no excuse for $6 not to have rolled duct tape laying around the house someplace. So tarps or plastic sheeting, again, all purpose, a variety of things. If you have a window break, you can put this, or a door or something like that. People who live in hurricane areas use them all the time for, putting the roofs back together. And, if you keep this in the car, you can use it as a ground cloth if you have to get on the ground and change your tire, take it camping, put it in a tree as a sun shelter. In $6, $7, hard to beat. I personally like a 5x7-ish. I think that's kind of a good manageable size for kind of a general all-purpose sort of use. You'll get better deals at Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight is awesome for tarps. They have their ultra cheap blue and green ones, which will last for about 6 months out in the sun, but their silver aluminized ones are only like $1 or $2 more. Pretty durable. I've got one right now covering my barbecue grill, and I'm pretty pleased for the $5 or $6 I've spent on it, because they're always on sale and there's always a coupon. But if you don't live near Harbor Freight, or you just want to buy something right now, it's on Amazon for $6. It's a good thing just to have laying around. And if you don't have a fire extinguisher in your residence, you should have a fire extinguisher in your residence. You should buy one. If you live in an apartment, they should come with it. If you're living in a house and you don't have one, have a fire extinguisher. Fires are really common and really dangerous. And for $20, there's no excuse not to have a good multi-purpose fire extinguisher around your house. Christmas is coming up, turkey season, Christmas lights and candles and things like that. Fire is a killer. It would be a shame to lose your house because you didn't spend $22 on a fire extinguisher. So make sure you got a fire extinguisher in the house somewhere. And that is it. And if you add all those things up, it is under $200. So right now from Amazon, you can get on and click those links and search for those things, and you can be in better shape for 200 bucks right now. So good on you. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks.